I was browsing the latest products on the Hong Kong website Deal Extreme and spotted this media player. The specs promised 1080p MKV playback for the bargain rock bottom price of $53 or £34 at the time. Now there was very little additional information available in the specifications, so I thought it would be a good idea to go and buy one so I could test it out and see what it could do. One thing that I was particularly interested to find out was if it was capable of downmixing a DTS signal into stereo capable of being played back through normal TV speakers. This is a feature that in the past has only really been available on higher priced media players. So after a couple of weeks the postman delivered the parcel, and in this video, which is part 1 of 2, I'm going to show you what you get inside the box as well as show you some of the different setup options. And then in the second video, which is the final part, I'll show you how it plays different kinds of media files and what kind of media files it can play, as well as show you some of the on-screen menus, and also have a quick look inside the device itself by taking the lid off. Now you might notice that this thing is just called an HD media player on the box, so to find it on the Deal Extreme website you'll have to use the SKU model number that I overlaid earlier. Now inside the box it comes with everything that you need to get started. I was glad to see that they included an HDMI lead, which was a nice touch. And then you get some rubber feet which you need to stick onto the bottom of the device itself. I'm not too sure why they couldn't have done that. You get a little user manual which makes perfect sense but doesn't actually tell you an awful lot. And then you get a little plastic stand with a rubber base that lets you stand the thing upright if you want to. You get a remote control which also comes with 2 batteries. It's quite a basic remote control, it's quite a nice design, but it doesn't have an awful lot of buttons on it as you can see here. And then you get a multi-voltage power adapter, 120 to 240 volts, US/Japanese style. And then of course the media player itself. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. The media player, as you can see here, is a tiny box. It's primarily made out of metal, which is presumably painted aluminium, and on one side you've got a USB slot and a combined memory stick and SD card reader, and on the rear you've got the standard phonos, an optical out, the HDMI socket and the power supply socket. Now you'd be forgiven for thinking it was called the RMVB8910 from looking at the stickers, but RMVB is actually a real media variable bitrate. It's a file format, so the only thing that it says is TV card reader, which isn't a particularly brilliant name for the device. Now on the front here you've got the window with the LED to show that it's powered up, as well as the infrared receptor for the remote control. And of course you could, if you wanted, put it inside that stand, but it doesn't take up an awful lot of room, so I don't quite see the point. Setting it up couldn't be any easier. The HDMI lead goes into the back of the television and then the other end into the media box, and the power lead goes into the back of the media box, and then because I'm in the UK I had to put the multi-voltage adapter into an international adapter. And finally I'm using a 2.5 inch 500GB hard drive which is formatted as NTFS, which gets plugged into the USB socket. Now this is a bus powered hard drive and the media player is quite happy powering it. You could also use a FAT or OFS, HFS formatted drives. I've tested both successfully, and if you were to put a memory card in at the same time as the hard drive, it takes priority over it, so you can only view one memory device at a time. In this review I won't be using the phono leads or the optical out, I just went for the simple setup of the HDMI lead. Anyway, let's switch it on and have a look. As you can see, the menus are very functional, but as a result are also very clear. Now we'll just pop into the settings menu and have a look at a few of the options there. If we go into the photo setup, you can see that you can adjust things like viewing them as thumbnails or file names. You can crop them down and you can have the slideshow duration change and maybe change the transitions on or off. If we go into the video settings, you can see that you can do things like add the subtitles on or off automatically and change the review play options, which I'll show you in part 2 of the video. Now next to the left is the file menu. The file menu lets you look at everything that's on the hard drive without splitting it into photos, videos, movies, etc. So you can just jump straight to a particular file in a folder easily. Now if we just pop into the photo menu here, I'm going to whiz through these because really you're going to be interested in how the video plays, but the photos, as you can see, if you just pick on one, they show as a slideshow format with transitions, which I've got switched on here, and you can adjust the delay, as I mentioned, between them, like 3, 5, 15 seconds, all the way up to a few minutes. Now the menu option for music is very basic again, simple, but it just lets you play sort of one album at a time. If you just click on a particular track, it'll play that track and then jump onto the next one when that one's finished playing. Okay, so that's it for part 1 of the video. Make sure you watch part 2 where I demonstrate the video playback abilities, which is what we're really interested in. We'll have a look at the on-screen display and controls and see what kinds of files it can play. And you may find that you're pleasantly surprised.